From the ethereal realm of devotion to the practicality of daily spiritual practice, across the vast landscape of Vedic wisdom and teachings, this is Vaishnava Voices. Hosted by the dynamic husband and wife duo, Srila Das and Dana Devi, they bring to you an intimate exploration of the vibrant world of Vaishnavism. Interweaving ancient scriptures with modern contexts, personal stories with universal lessons, they illuminate the path of love, devotion, and conscious living.
Hare Krishna, and welcome everyone to another episode of Vaishnava Voices. I'm your co-host, Srila Das, and beside me, as always, is the wonderful Dana Devi. Today, as with every episode, we're diving deep into the heart of Vaishnava teachings, exploring the wisdom, culture, and practices that guide us towards a life filled with devotion and service.
That's right, Sitapati. We are thrilled to have you on this journey with us. Whether you are a seasoned devotee, a spiritual seeker, or simply curious about Vaishnavism, here in Vaishnava Voices, we are all about fostering connection, understanding, and growth. And remember, we are not just exploring, we are also experiencing. So let's begin.
So sit back, prepare your hearts and minds, and tune into the sounds of the soul on Vaishnava Voices.
Hare Krishna, Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, total world victory of Hare Krishna. Welcome to another episode of Vaishnava Voices. It's winter here in Taranaki, New Zealand, and it's a bit cold and we're a bit sick. But we're extremely excited that the movie is finally coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say the movie, I mean the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's the River of Freedom. It's the documentary about the Parliament protests in New Zealand in 2022, which is where we met. Yeah. That's where we met, and then we got married after that, and now we're building our, we couldn't call it self-sufficient.
Well, that's
what
goal,
people call it,
Yeah,
self-sufficient, but it's interdependent with the other people in the region, obviously. But it's a Vedic agriculture based on cows, the land, farming, simple living, high thinking, came out of like the experience of living in the Freedom Village.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people went down there from all over New Zealand, all walks of life. And get this, many people from the film industry who'd been put out of work and were like, hey, this is not okay. I'm not okay with this. They all came there and found each other there. And then because there were so many, camera people, sound people, writers, directors, producers there, they all got together and they created a documentary movie shot from so many different angles all over the place. And we've got two of them on the show today. It's Dane Scott and Jordan Ranson from Manaaki Media. Something you wanted to say before we bring them on?
Yeah. Say your name.
My name. Although we said it in the intro. I'm
Okay.
Srila Das.
I'm Dana Devi.
Yeah. And our names in the corner here, over here, are reversed. So that's Dana Devi.
That's right.
And that's Srila. And let's bring them on. Here's Dane Scott and Jordan Ranson from Manaaki Media. Kia ora, brothers.
Hare Krishna.
Kia ora.
Thank you for coming on.
Quite an impressive intro. I wasn't expecting the conch, and it was quite well produced. So it was an entertaining experience.
Written by artificial intelligence. ChatGPT wrote that.
Man, that's nuts. Eh?
And then the narrator voice is a different AI voicing called Levin Labs.
Wow,
Yeah.
Thank you. We're actually looking for one of those because we're just looking into this for our storytelling. So I'll get that off you at the end if that's okay.
Yeah, I can hook you up with all the things. So you guys were at the Parliament protest last year, and did you know each other before the Parliament protest?
I wouldn't say we knew each other in here. We had met at Splore Festival, And it was literally, I was doing photography and he had been employed to come in and do some filming, and we had literally crossed paths. We sort of knew of each other's work, but like we didn't know each other. And that was probably to the depth of our, connection, was just that one fleeting crossing over. Yeah. And then that was it. The next time we actually saw each other was on the grounds of Parliament.
Wow. Amazing. So many things have come out of that mela, that gathering. I remember when I was there, I was just, after some time, I was like, man, if I was the bad guys, I would not let all of these people meet each other and spend all this time together unless I was going to like drop napalm on all of them at the same time. Otherwise, like, this is guaranteed to create all kinds of collaborations and connections that are going to spread back out through the nation. But, it was a divine arrangement. Yeah, and so Manaaki Media came out of that. And so what does Manaaki mean?
Fundamentally, it's about service and protection and acknowledgement of te tangata, the people. And it's very much apt that it was birthed at a place where real truth was being fostered, at this Parliament protest. In the face of many different views and perspectives, there was a group of people that felt strongly connected by a particular view, and Manaaki was birthed from that place. And I think the vibration of Manaaki, which we've been dropping into for the last 12 to 16 months, has really been of service, of social impact, and of deep resonance storytelling on many different layers, many dimensions, but it comes from the heart.
Beautiful. I remember there was one point there where we were spray painting signs, and one of the Hare Krishna devotees who was there, Muchakunda Das, he's a street artist, and he did a sign and he put Manaaki Tanga on the they were kind of like protest signs, but it's interesting that we started off kind of opposing something there. A lot of people went there because they were opposed to the mandates, people being forced to do something. But then a lot of what's come out of there is standing for something rather than just being against something, because even when a lot of the mandates have gone away, people have continued to stand for something. I've got a trailer for the film. I'd like to run that, and maybe we can watch that. And then I'd like to hear from each of you, because it was kind of a coming together in a place of what was your individual journey of getting to the Parliament protest. Is that okay with you guys if we take that approach?
Yeah, man.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's bring this thing up. Here it is. I'll put us on mute while we're watching this.
Right, Geordie, is that?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dane.
I think this is a film that we've produced that we did of like a highlights reel, but this isn't exactly the trailer of the film itself.
I see. Okay, but this is footage that the two of you put together.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so this is not a trailer for the film, folks, but this is Manaaki Media's highlights reel of the Profest, as it's called, the Parliament occupation, and it really gives you a sense of what happened there. And I don't know, I haven't seen the movie, but if the movie is a representation of what happened there, this will give you a sense of what this movie is going to be like too.
Well, I'll just clarify there. Like this particular piece actually came through because we realized that there was a real importance to show the true connection and love that was at this event. So I wouldn't describe this piece as a deep reflection of the whole event, but this is very much a love-centered piece. So very, very much looking forward to seeing it again. But just to clarify that, this came out of a moment of feeling that a really loving energy wanted to come from the event to the world. So that's what produced this film.
Beautiful. Okay, let's roll it. Thank you.
If they really knew, they wouldn't do this. What? Oh.
I just met him today. I think he's cool.
You could share your fears and your hearts have been so quiet.
When the cavalry comes. Thank you for your hard work.
It's just incredible. Yeah, there's so many flavors of the occupation. You know, you could have had like, you know, clashes on the border at night. You know, the burning down of the Freedom Village. There's so many kind of points on the arc, but that really captures like a large part of the experience for me. I just remember laying down. I mean, there was also the cyclone as well, you know, where we were all drenched and everything got flattened. And then there was just a whole period of like laying down on the ground, hearing the people singing and the children playing and looking up at the blue sky and just thinking, this is a preview of the future of this country that I'm living inside of right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you really captured that in there. It's beautiful. If this was like our meditation as a nation, like, okay, this is the future that we're committed to creating, then this, I think, would be perfect.
I feel that, brother.
Who was it in there who was filming and said, thank you for your hard work? Was that you, Jordan, or Dane?
Yeah, that was me, yeah. And that was the Hare Krishna tent that probably put out 17 tons of food. You know,
yeah, it was incredible. It was up to 3,000 plates a day. And they had so much food coming in that people were donating. It was like, we got to like do something with this because we've got no refrigeration. We had Abai on for an episode previously. He said we had no refrigeration. We didn't want to waste anything. So we were just like giving away as much as we could just all day, every day. Yeah, incredible. Brother Rawadi says, beautiful whānau. Manaaki Tanga is all about connection. Maori ora.
Maori ora,
Thanks
brother.
for tuning in, brother. So yeah, I'd like to hear about your individual journeys to get to the occupation. How all those threads came together and then wove that tapestry. And I'd like to hear from each of you about your individual journey there, if that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. I'll kick it off. I think for me, it started way before Parliament. I attended the Hikoi of Truth, which was a movement of sovereign rights up to Waitangi. And up until then, I hadn't really gone and documented any protests or done anything like that. But I was tuned in after getting a few little signs coming through and was like, yeah, you've got to go. You've got to pack your taonga pūoro, pack your kete of taonga, get your camera bag and go. And that was it for me for the first time of seeing sort of behind the veil of the extent of what the government and certain individual sort of systems were willing to do to repress knowledge and truth and freedom within, our country. And so that was quite a huge experience for me, being behind police lines for 5 days. held off the side of the road with a camera, being one of the only ones on our side that was there actually documenting from the heart of it. So a couple months fast forward, Parliament kicks off, and I was sort of still just, I got pretty well toasted on the first experience of doing that. And then I got convinced. It was actually my mum. I come home from seeing one of my friends as everyone rallied in Palmerston North, and I moved back to mum's for summer, and I sort of got the opportunity to go and catch up with everyone that was gathering in Palmerston North. And a dear friend of mine, Mark Lapwood, who's also one of the primary DOPs or cinematographers on the River of Freedom, he was there, and he'd travelled from Cape Reinga down, and at that stage was in Palmerston North. And so he was like, "Come, man, come on, we need you, come." And I was just like, And I went home that night, and mum's like, "So, are you going?" And I was like, "Oof." And she's like, "I'm keen." And I was like, "Fuck it then, let's go." And so first thing in the morning, we were straight in the car. She drove, and I filmed outside of the car. And that's a lot of the footage that we sort of captured on the way down. And then, getting down there was good. It's sort of just like, everyone gathered. Spirits were pretty chill. That first day was just a lot of, speeches and people gathering, not a great deal going on. And then sort of drove home with mum. She lives just up Palmerston Northway, so it's not that much of a distance. And the next morning I woke to police arriving and certain things coming through with live feeds. And I just turned to mum. I says, "I've got to go back." And so I hitchhiked back to Wellington and spent the next 20 days on the grounds of Parliament, behind the lines, filming and documenting and telling that story. So it was an all or nothing for me. I was there until the story wasn't a story anymore. And I mean, that story will always be present. And as we're getting closer to the release, it's ever so important for that story to be heard. And I can only begin to see some of our experiences there, but I'll let Geordie give some of his perspective of how he got to that point in time.
Yeah, thanks, man. Funnily enough, it was actually my mum that she was the one that got me there as well. So kia ora to the mothers. So it was kind of weird because at the start it was like, nah. I was like, whoa, there's a bit of a thing going on. Like, all the whole everyone was doing the what do you call it when they're in the trucks? Forget the name.
Convoy.
Convoy, yeah. There was a lot of convoy chat going on. It was all about the convoy and the Canadian convoy, and I was like watching it on YouTube, going like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then all of a sudden, it's like New Zealand starts getting involved, and I had two friends from down here in Queenstown, and they're amazing actually, and they run a sauna business down in Queenstown, and Adam and Rick were kind of like pioneers of the Queenstown convoy, and they were rallying up troops and saying, we're going. And I was just like, oh man. And I never thought that I would go. I was just like, it's not for me. I've got some things to do at the moment. And kind of like I started getting this intuitive feeling. It sort of crept up on me, like over the couple of days, and I started kind of having a few dreams, and then going, wait a minute, like, no, I wouldn't be going up there, I don't think. And then, a couple of days would go by, and I think it was on the third day that something just came through really strongly. I was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm being guided by God to go to Parliament. And I said this to Mum, and she says, I think you're going to go there and make some films that are really important for this time in history. And that really stuck with me. And I think it was 2 days later, about 10 of us gathered from Queenstown, and it felt quite ceremonial actually. We all went to the airport together and caught the flight together, and we knew that we were entering something that was very spiritual, not just physical, and you could feel that preemptive energy, and we all knew that. And so, you know, that plane flight, everyone was just quiet. Like no one spoke to anyone. And I remember looking around, they were all dotted around the plane at different seats. And it was just, everyone was very internal and very silent. It was a bit of a nervous energy. And then we landed in Wellington, and you don't know what you're going into. You know, I think this was Friday. And so the Thursday drama had happened the day before, and now it was Friday or potentially Saturday. And we made our way over, and one of the first people I saw was Dane. And I had my camera in my hand, and Dane just comes up to me. He's a little disheveled, but quite like, you know, a little bit pumped up. And he just goes, "Excuse my language," he goes, "Thank fuck you're here." And this is a guy that, you know, we only really met once at Explore the year before, and I knew of him, but like he I say to this people, he greeted me like we hadn't seen each other in 10,000 years. And it was pretty funny, and I was just like, "Oh, kia ora, brother." And you know, that sort of then just started this sort of 3-week adventure of capturing people's stories and being there on the ground and holding space energetically, and just following guidance as to what was needed to be done at that time, at that Parliament protest.
Powerful. Yeah, I think Dane, you mentioned seeing behind the veil, and you were saying that in reference to kind of being behind the lines, and I'm not sure if you meant it in the sense of being there on the ground and then seeing the media representation of what was happening. Is that the sense that you were meaning that, or?
Yes and no. I mean, that's just definitely a part of it. I mean, my experience on the Hikoi of Truth that led to Parliament was like a training ground. It's like I'd gone through an intensive sort of training for battle, and showing up at Parliament was a breeze. Like a lot of the conflict was nothing compared to being sort of the 5 days on the Hikoi of Truth, completely isolated from the world of the media, other than a few people. You know, we were stuck off the side of a highway. And when I say seeing behind the veil, I saw some of the militarized tactics that were being used by the police. Some of, you know, they were bringing in the radar, the LiDAR, like the sound techniques, turning floodlights on while people were trying to sleep. We had Māori wardens showing up saying we as human rights, like they were isolating us from getting water and food. So I'd had a pretty intensified experience of what sort of torturous behaviors the police can then utilize against their people. And so appearing at Parliament, I was there in, you know, joy of celebration that first day. And then when I saw the police arrive the next day, and sort of, I just had it was like a lightning bolt in my body to just be like, I've got to get back there because I know things are about to change very quickly. And so that return to the Wednesday afterwards, and then the Thursday when a lot of that, the police fully pushed in and documenting that was for me the shift. Because on the Hikoi of Truth, I was off to the side of the road. I didn't have a laptop. There was no way of getting content out other than that of the phone, and I was entirely documenting it on camera for a later purpose. None of that footage has been seen. It's all been kept. And there's a part of me that was like internally just like distraught for the months after. Like I couldn't release it, and I wasn't allowed to release it from a guidance of higher perspective. The moment I landed at Parliament, I was like, I've got my laptop and I have access to internet. I have access to this time, and it's time to show what I'm capable of doing. And I produced a series of photos and a short film from that day on, from Thursday, the next day, Friday, for about 5 days straight, and was tuning into the media that was there the night before, addressing what was being said, and then showing, you know, as a rebuttal piece, using purely footage that was being captured on the ground with live audio. Nothing was hypercut, nothing was censored, and it was there. This is the truth. And so that was me peeling through their veil with the truth and the camera as the weapon. So that's sort of what I mean when you sort of see behind the veil. You see the lies that are just perpetuated, and if you're not on the ground, it's easy to just get swept up into the distractions and the noise of media.
It's World War III, baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to link it back to what you were saying, Jordan, you know, pierce the side and this idea of piercing the veil. You know, when you said, you know, you roll up there and Dane's just like, thank you're here, you know, and it's like you hadn't seen each other for 10,000 years. I just really had the experience there of this piercing of the veil. Like the veil became very thin there. It was like, you know, I would walk up to people and, you know, they would just say, we are the ancestors and, you know, we promised that we would return for this. And now here we are. And people were in a different, just like that whole thing you were explaining, Jordan, about getting onto that plane and everybody was just like, you know, we don't like fully remember who we are, but it's kind of like, you know, I've just become a puppet of some, you know, bigger plot arc that spans, this lifetime is one episode and like a multi-episode season arc. And it's like, you know, the viewers in the heavenly planets, wherever they are watching this thing streaming, you know, on the celestial network are like, dude, it's finally the epic scene where they all come back together and the actors themselves, we don't remember the previous episodes, but the people who are watching are like, damn, these guys are back together again. Like, and there was kind of a sense of like, you couldn't remember it, but you knew it was there. That was my experience of it anyway.
I totally resonate with that, and you could not have summed up my expression in seeing Geordie in any better way. Like my whole heart, the weight off my shoulder, everything just dissipated in that moment. And seeing him and knowing his skill set and his capability, and knowing that he was called there for a reason, I was like, it's on. You know, like we have the eyes on the ground and we have the skills. And that was just me seeing him, let alone moments after that. He's connecting with other people and there's more people arriving. And, you know, Jared Connor, our producer, had been arrested on that Thursday. And then him with Sunny Arahanga, they all gathered behind the scenes. I was completely unaware. I was just so in it, making sure I had films out every day and photos. Next minute, I was called to a meeting, and there's the tribe. And we've got Portacom on site, and there's a media station, and we've got people that have worked on the Lord of the Rings, and like producers and editors, like everyone gathered. And I'm just like, hold on a second, we're in like a full-blown movie set now, like, and we're the main characters, and we're also like the storytellers, like, because it was for us to tell our story through what our experience was and to share everyone else's story. And that's what Manaaki Media was on ground, was a portal for people to believe that the media wasn't all fake and that we were there to tell the story of Te Tangata. And so that is entirely what we did from our sort of space of just giving people a voice.
Yeah, it's as Jordan was saying, while in the plane, you know, people were so quiet. People were, in general, people that weren't complying with all of these abusive demands and from the government. They were so silenced that they weren't even able to express themselves, and they were in such a fear, like, of trust. Like, what if I say this person? Do they think like I am thinking? That fear in themselves that keep everyone quiet. And you guys going there, like, sharing the same thing, but having the skill set there and is speaking in behalf of other people through the cameras, through your videos. It is speaking for all of us, because the media that were paying millions of dollars to produce the selective narrative, you know, they were having the best time because they already knew what to do with it. And us as people wanting to be heard and standing up for our grounds, we were like pushed down, diminished, abused. You know, we weren't able to say, hey, this is not the truth. You know, the truth is this, and this is my stand, and don't mess with it. And we were so silenced to the point, like, people were so overwhelmed that they wouldn't even want to speak to one to the other. And now you guys are here, like, brave, saying, no, I'm going to use what I need to use, the skills that I have to speak the truth. It takes some courage here.
Yeah. Courage is simple when you're in divine grace and you're guided by something that's bigger than you. Like it doesn't feel like a challenge when you're showing up because you know you have no other choice. You're not going to sit at home while this atrocity happens. And if I've got the skills to show up and to be that opportunity and that channel for people to be able to truly see and share their voices, then that's it. And that trip pushed me through 21 days of, love and experience, but at the same time, torturous environment, But the beauty is a lot of us shared. It's just like, as you said earlier, so this is the meditation of a nation. And that's what we all held truth is. Imagine what we could do outside of this when we don't have the police breathing down our necks, and this like constant Baby Shark playing in the background. It's like, that was the truth that kept us going, is that we knew that everything that we were doing there under the intense conditions, we knew that one day we were going to do free from that, as we always dreamed of. And that's what this film is really about. It's showing what happened there, but it's also showing the potential of when so many people from different tribes and different belief systems, vaccinated, non-vaccinated, whatever, they come and stand for freedom. And they come and stand for truth. And that's what I'm really excited for people to remember as this film comes to screen in a couple of weeks, is that people are going to get an insight. Once again, sort of a little bit like that love piece that we had produced from Wellington. They're really going to see why people were there and what inspired them to be there. And it was for the love of that. The love of a nation, love of our country being a place of freedom.
Because here people were basically manipulated. The tactics they were using is like the abusive, like the constant music that makes people crazy, and all of these radiation things going on, and the police being like staunch there, bringing the fear into people. And to the point they were just trying to crush the spirit of people. It's like, and then now they're coming with this statement saying, we never force you to do anything. It's like, I know what tactic you're playing. You're playing this narcissistic psychopathic behavior here. This is how they do. They take the reality of people, they messed up the reality of people and make the people crazy, but they are the innocent. I haven't done that. You did it yourself.
But luckily, we got it all on film. The thing that really, from what you're saying there, this really impacted me the most. So many things impacted me, but it was this, I have this sitting right here next to me now. And it was this, that it was te tangata, it was the people. It wasn't about vaxxed or unvaxxed. We didn't create that distinction. They created that distinction and tried to divide people. And the real resistance was that people refused to be divided, They were like, they're anti-Semites and Islamophobes and racists and right-wing extremists and everything. And you go in there and it's like the most beautiful expression of humanity that you can encounter. And if it hadn't been captured and if it hadn't been like constantly pumped out, like people on the ground like you, Dane, cranking it out every day caused more and more people to come. If it had just been the media representation, they would have been able to control the narrative, but they couldn't do that. I went to the Portaloo one day when it was the day when the guys from the far north arrived, the devotees, to set up the kitchen. And they came because, the devotees, Hare Krishna devotees who were there were cranking out going, this is what's happening, And some of the Hare Krishna devotees around the country were like, being told that, no, you got to follow the government and do what you're told. Looks like Jordan might be switching his
Yeah, I think his internet just glitched, so he's going to change location.
Okay. And so they went along with that and they bought into that and they went along with the mainstream narrative. And then other Hare Krishna devotees who were more independently minded and thoughtful were just like, nah, man, where the people are there, we're there to serve the people, If all these people are going to go out of their homes and sleep on the ground. You know, we're going to go there and feed them. And so they came down to do that. And, you know, in the last episode where we talked about that, we had Abai on, and like, it was just a series of miracles that led to him getting there. You know, like his car completely broke down and he was like, that's it, I can't go. And then someone gave him another brand new car to take and a whole lot of stuff like that. But I was at the Portaloo, and I would, whenever I saw people there that I hadn't seen before, I'd just say to them, you know, hey, you know, thank you for being here. What had you come? You know, why did you come here? Because I was interested to understand people and why they were here and what their journey was. These two guys, they said to me, you know, we're from up far north, and we when we saw what they did to the women, you know, on the Thursday, we just had to come down. And so the footage that came out from the ground, from the protesters, showing what was happening, you know, the real face of what was happening and the police overreaction, everything, that stimulated hundreds, if not thousands, of people around the country to come and join or to send support, you know, money, materials. And, you know, we didn't see any of this happening here, like you're saying, like people who worked on Lord of the Rings and the Portacom and like the media room center and the whole thing going on there. But there was a whole infrastructure behind everything, and it was nationwide. It was people who couldn't necessarily come sending their support to make this whole thing happen.
Yeah. It was profound, you know, like after that Thursday, and I produced that first film showing what had happened that day, it struck me, because I stepped away from the computer. When I say I stepped away, my being left the building, and I had a whole day's worth of footage to cut through, and I made that piece in less than an hour. And it was just snip, 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 snip. And it was like God was just moving my hands. And then I pushed play and I looked at that film. And it was raw, it was real, it showed hope. And it finished with the end of the day where we celebrated, where the police had backed down. A dude was on the mic, one of the Convoy organizers, and he says, they have seen, they have heard, and they are coming. And that video hit over 10,000, 15,000 views over the course of it.
Do you have a link to it? Maybe we could play it.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, give me 2 seconds and I'll dig it up.
Yeah.
Sure.
But that really, really hit home for me, that all of a sudden what I was doing was really important, and it was making change.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a powerful event. There's like literally nothing else that could have been done that would have catalyzed the nation in favor of it. And they were uncompressible, like water. You know, water can flow to fill any vessel. It can flow around things. It can erode rocks. It's formless, but it's also unable to be compressed.
Yeah.
So it was like that. You know, the police were trying to compress that whole thing. We were right in the center of it, right in the middle. Through the whole thing, and just the internal structure of that community, it was indestructible.
Mm.
And getting this getting the message out. Here's Jordan's coming back in. Let's add him back in.
Epic.
Welcome back, brother.
Hey, I just
You look like you're in the attic.
Yeah, I literally am.
Gone to higher ground to get a better signal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
How's the conversation been?
Oh, it's great. We were just talking about the Thursday, and Dane's looking for the pivotal movie that he created about that event. Is it on YouTube? Oh, you're on mute, Dane.
I'm just going to find it. I'll let Geordie take over, and it's just hidden up in our Facebook. But this is the thing.
Yeah.
A lot of our films that were produced, like the shadow banning that happened after that, all the views were exponentially lost. And to find some certain things would become quite challenging. Like you would have to type all of our name into the last letter before we become apparent on any social media platform. So
Wow.
yeah, I'll dig it up and I'll come back on.
Okay, awesome. So you arrived after the police kind of incursion thing. You came on like the Friday or the Saturday after that, and then you were there right up to the end, Geordie?
Yeah, so I was there about 4 days before the the fiery end. I got pretty strong intuitive guidance that it was time for me to leave, and so I left, and I'm really glad I did. It just wasn't for me to be there at the end, and I think we could all feel the way that it was going. That last 7 to 9 days, you could feel people's energy was waning. You know, there were some more tactics that were being thrown out on people, and you could just feel, I could sense it was going a certain way, and obviously it was the way that it needed to go, and so be it. But it wasn't for me to be there. So yeah, I was there for 3 weeks, and then about 4 days before the end, I went back home, and then I ended up getting that virus immediately, and it got me pretty good because I was just so, I wasn't having a good diet and being in that intense environment with, all of the other stuff that took place. My immune system was just shot, man. So I think like many of us actually got pretty sick for like 6 weeks. I didn't really get my strength back for another couple months. So it was quite a hit, and not to mention watching the scenes at home, being very sick, of the flames, and it was pretty. I was actually at a very low point at that point. The darkness had fallen all around, and without that community support there, just seeing all of the amazing things that had been built, all in flames, was quite heartbreaking, actually. So it was tough. Yeah, that was a tough part.
And when did the movie, because I experienced the same thing, you come out of there and it's like such a high, and you're like, this is like amazing, and then it's like, and now what? Just the Freedom Village burns to the ground. And then kind of for us, Dana had already bought this land in Taranaki, and we'd met there, and we had a 24-hour kirtan event that we held at the farm in Hawke's Bay, and we just invited everyone to come. It was like 2 or 3 weeks later. We were like, we got to keep this community alive and continue to provide sustenance for people. So we had a lot of people from the Freedom Village came to that 24-hour kirtan, and Dana and Isabella came down from Taranaki, and then Prahlad, my son, and I came up and visited them here, and then we moved up here after that and focused on building this community here. And so for the River of Freedom movie, when did it become like, hey, this is going to be, a cinema ready full-length documentary movie, and when did that become a focus and like the next kind of lightning rod for you?
Well, it was quite interesting. It kind of plays into a little bit. The story starts with the inception of Manaaki Media, and then our involvement with the other filmmakers and people that were at the protest. So it was pouring with rain. It was during the cyclone. I remember the moment that Manaaki was formed, and it was really, really amazing. It was pissing down, and it was a bit miserable, but everyone was high spirits, and there was probably some reggae music playing in the background. And we just, 3 of us, myself, Briar, and Dane, were underneath one of the tents. The rain was falling, and we just said, look, like, we're all doing the same thing but separately. So there's a lot of individual filmmakers and photographers running around this event by themselves, and there hadn't been a collective sort of unison of the people yet. And so in that moment we said, look, like, why don't we do this together? And we all said, sweet, well, maybe we just start with the 3 of us. And we're like, yeah, cool, nice. And then Dane, just a lightning bolt came through, and he just, grabs his necklace and he goes, Manaaki. It's called Manaaki. And that was the inception of Manaaki Media. And that was our particular experience of that first gathering of people. And then outside of that sort of like through that thread that my mum had seeded like a week before, I realized Sonny who was I think he's Wellington local. He was running around with a cinema camera, and I just said to him, "Hey bro, like we need to start like a group. Like, do you want to start a group on Telegram?" And he said yes. And then so Dane quickly joined, and Briar quickly joined, and then a few other people, Jared joined, and then eventually the group was about 12 or 14 people. And then that group then became pretty much the base of the production for the documentary. And we quickly realized that there was a bigger piece that wanted to come from this group. And it just so happened, like Dane mentioned before, that some of the people in the group had had extremely great backgrounds in producing films. So as Dane mentioned, next minute there's a production trailer in the car park of the ministry, and we're all in there gathering, and we're basically now on a film shoot, and we've all got high quality gear. We've got cinema cameras, we've got storage drives coming through, there's funding portals starting, and it was kind of like the Fantastic Four, just like became the Fantastic 12, and then everyone was just like boom, 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 boom. And from that point onwards, I think it was very clear that there were the right people in place that could create like a full documentary. And from that point, actually, like Dane and I, a lot of our footage is in the documentary, but full credit goes to the team like Mark Lapwood, Jared, Gayleen, and many more people that have actually taken that moment, and instead of just releasing it and letting it go, they've held on the whole time, and they've produced a full feature-length documentary that is now going to be in cinemas. And I'm actually blown away at the level of professionalism and teamwork required to pull this off. I think the film started at 5 hours worth of footage, and it's now, 2.5 hours, I think. So, it's one thing to say we're going to make a documentary. It's another thing to 12 months, 15 months later, do it and then have it screening in cinemas around the country. So just like massive respect. And Afi for the team that's put this together.
I think that was needed. Speaking our part, our truth. Yeah. What is the other side of the coin? Because everybody else is fed by the government, We are the only source of truth. Is that right? Okay. So we just like a bundle of toys without thinking, without spirit. You know what I mean? And now you guys come, and also your crew, the team that produced these films, like we are human beings, living entities that have spirit. We have mana, and we have our truth to speak now. It's our turn. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sure many people are looking forward in New Zealand and also overseas. So they in that way they can see what exactly means to be manipulated. How the spirit of every human being, once they are united, they can create a different world, not based on fear, of course, but based on love and connection and mutual respect to whatever society or culture or religion or whatever you come from. It's just a superficial aspect to it, but it's the Holy Spirit of human beings is clump each other, connect each other, and fight what is our core in this world, to be loving, caring for each other. There's nothing else to it. Love and care for each other.
I've got we've got Gaura Das on the line from Canada. I'd love to introduce you guys to him and introduce him to you. Just going to bring him in here. Hare Krishna, Gaura Prabhu, live from Canada.
Thank you very much.
Is the
patient. Thank you.
Is the godfather of the anti-scamdemic Hare Krishna community worldwide, and he was at the Canadian truckers protest around the same time that we were together at the Freedom Village. Gaura, this is Jordan and Dane. They are two filmmakers. They'd crossed paths before the Parliament protest, but they came together again there and formed Manaaki Media. Manaaki is a term that means like connection or respect, community, and they formed the nucleus of what became this team that produced this cinema length documentary film, Freedom River of Freedom, which is coming out in less than a month now.
I wanted to say I'm proud of you, Dane and Jordan. Well done, mates. Great service to humanity. I wanted to begin by saying, I don't know if I'm being asked to begin right now, how many minutes I have, but thank you. First, Hare Krishna, Dana, good to see you again, and Sita Pati, my frontline buddy. We're in the trenches together. He was in the trenches of New Zealand, and I was in the trenches of Ottawa. I wanted to begin by saying that what a paradox, how tyranny could contribute to so much community and bonding. And on that note, I'd like to thank the former Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern for bringing so many good souls together, even though I'm sure that was not her intention. And similarly over here across the oceans in my native Canada, thank you very much, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, for bringing us together and turning it into a celebration. Prior to arriving in Ottawa, my pal, my good friend, Jivan Mukta, who I was a young monk back in '79, and he was just coming to visit and about to become a monk himself in the Krishna tradition. So we go way back, and we're on the same page, observing all of the tyranny going on around the world and forced pharmaceuticals, etc. I don't know if I can use that type of word, and I'm being careful not to use any word that might cause us to get banned here.
Yeah, let's not get this one banned.
Yeah. And so he said, "Hey, Gaura, I'm ready to rent a 52-seater bus." Like, we're out in the Toronto region, so it's about, I don't know, 6-hour drive or something to Ottawa, 5, 6. He said, Can you find me 52 people to fill up the bus with? Let's go and chant Hare Krishna in the streets of Ottawa, and purify the atmosphere, and give the people hope. These weren't his words, but if I could, I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, but this was the spirit. Let's go and join our brothers and sisters who are out in 25 below zero weather in the streets of Ottawa, protesting for their basic human rights. And the gist of Jivan Mukta's talk was, hey, even our creator, even the Supreme Lord, whether we call him Allah or Jehovah or Krishna, he gives us choice in terms of what we do with our bodies. And those who are supposed to be our caretakers, our guardians, our government leaders are telling us, no jab, no job. You bow to us or you're not going to have food on your table. And so I'm a former hippie that decided to become a happy. That's how Srila Prabhupada would put it. I'm coming from the 60s. My body's going to be 68 in a couple of weeks. I say my body because our philosophy in the Krishna tradition is we're not our body. We are spirits in the material world, as Sting sings. And as Bob Dylan sings, you got to serve somebody. It may be the devil or it may be the Lord, but you got to serve somebody. So I decided to stop serving greedy music agents and managers and join the spiritual revolution of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. But then I'm seeing all of these broadcasts or articles in my own spiritual media of my community, where at least a dozen leaders came out and they were all, I don't want to say promoting the scam. How shall I put it, Sitapati? Can you find the words for me, please?
We could say it like this: acting as unpaid advocates for pharmaceutical industry. How about that?
Very diplomatically put. Yeah. And so for us as Krishna devotees, which I've aspired to be for the last 48 years, every time we go out and do Harinam Sankirtan, chanting the holy names of the Lord in the street, it's a protest against the whole scam of the material world, which we call Maya. Maya means that which is not, or the goddess of illusion. And the goddess of illusion, Maya, has the thankless task of dangling before our nose the carrot of illusory happiness through material gratification. And as a famous singer who himself sold out to this scam, saying, "I can't get no satisfaction," he wrote a song criticizing people who were against the scam, which goes to show, how greed and so-called fame compromises us. So yeah, I had seen the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, who is owned by the Canadian government as well, showing people complaining about the protest, and condemning the truckers and with their horns, and even one of my own leaders in Canada, my own spiritual leader, said, they're just a bunch of beer drinking meat eaters. And I'm thinking, well, but isn't our prime minister one of those as well? So I don't mean to sound condescending if anyone here still drinks beer or eats animals, but he was trying to put down the truckers as if they're like, of a lower life or something. And I thought, well, but they're out there on behalf of you and me. They're out there freezing in 25 below zero weather, unless people send them money to keep their engines running, which then I very soon found out was being frozen. People's bank accounts were being frozen so that the truckers could become frozen, so that we could end our protest. So, when we went out there to sing the Hare Krishna mantra in the streets of freezing Ottawa, for us, it was just, another day as a devotee of Krishna. This is what we do. We go and we sing the names of the Lord. We're like the original Salvation Army. We were doing it, thousands of years before them, but more specifically, 530 years ago, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the streets of West Bengal, the villages of West Bengal, went out to sing the holy names of the Lord, because there was a caste to Brahmin system there where some quote unquote Hindus were thinking they had a monopoly on the truth, and they didn't want Lord Chaitanya to let everyone know, hey, everyone is free to get liberated from the cycle of birth and death just by singing this simple mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But then I heard from the grapevine that members of our communities were being told not to go and sing the Hare Krishna mantra because Prime Minister Trudeau would not be pleased with us if we went and joined all the souls that were traumatized, wondering where their next meal was going to come from unless they agreed to become an experimental lab rat. So I was quite bewildered, frankly, because I thought we were a spiritual revolutionary community. And yet I was watching members within our community telling other members, don't participate in this. And I'm thinking, since when is it our philosophy not to go and give everyone hope by the chanting of the holy names? I mean, we did that at Woodstock. We did that at the Love-Ins and the Be-Ins in Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco back in the 60s. We did that at Lollapalooza. We did that at the Warped Tour. You name it. Wherever there's a big gathering of souls, hey, here's an opportunity for us to express our love for the Lord by chanting the names of the Lord, and you'll be free. The Lord is awaiting on us all to awaken and see. So to see my own community leaders, and I'm not saying all of them, but a handful, speaking against this was really quite, it was quite shocking. I don't want to take up too much more time, but thank you for allowing me to speak my little piece. So thank you for doing the excellent work. And Sitapati and Dana already know how I'm their greatest fans. When I saw that they were on, I mean, we only went out for the day. They went out for 21 days, feeding between 3,000 and 4,000 people every day, singing the holy names of the Lord nonstop, 12 hours a day, and making and bonding and making thousands of friends. I mean, it was amazing. So it's interesting how when sometimes life serves us lemons, we can make lemonade out of it. We can find the silver lining in the various ways that we're challenged. So I'll thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Gaura. Yeah, for me, it was really a match for the sacrifice and the commitment of the people who were there. I was like, the level of courage that it took for people to be there, putting themselves on the line. And there was one night after the cyclone when I walked around the village. I stayed up all night chanting, couldn't get to sleep. And I just walked around and I went everywhere. I looked at every tent. I looked at every car. I looked at everything they had written everywhere on their cars, all the slogans, everything. Because I wanted to see who are these people and why are they here, what's motivated them. And the things that stuck out were two things, the vax and unvax standing together. And then the other one that was so powerful for me was on one car there, someone had written, "Risk it all for the children." And I could see that these were people who were concerned about, and there was even the mongrel mob had like a whole bunch of their names in a spiral there, and something about the children on the stage. People were motivated by the future of their families, the future of the country, be concerned for their children.
I just want to make one more brief comment, and that is, when I arrived there, immediately someone walked up to me and they said, "Oh, are you with Hare Krishna?" I said, "Yes, for the last 48 years. She said, "Oh, I've been to your temple in Vrindavan where you're chanting 24 hours a day. I just love it there. And thank you very much for coming here." And then I walk a little further and a Christian lady is waving at me. "Would you like a bagel with cream cheese? Would you like some hot soup? Would you like a granola bar?" I only found love and kindness there. Matter of fact, another sannyasi monk, spiritual leader, said to me, "Gaura, what a wonderful opportunity for us to go out there and cook big vats of khichdi and halava, which is like a dessert. How many friends we'll make just by doing that." So yeah, it was quite bewildering for me to see that, as Sitapati and Dana also experienced on their end, how institutional leaders were saying, "Don't do this." And I'm thinking, this was a party. This was a party. People were in such a good mood. I didn't meet one obnoxious person there. Honestly, even if I would have met a drunk that were threatening people, I'd say so. But it was a happening. It was a loving. It was people coming together to let each other know we're all in this together. And we're going to make it through. There's light at the end of this dark tunnel. I'll be quiet.
Yeah, just riffing on the back of that, thank you, Gaura, for that beautiful kōrero, which means discussion. I think secretly in our hearts, we're all desiring something like this to happen, to finally give us the opportunity to just go and be there with others, and just speak the truth that was within our hearts, that God's put in our hearts. And I know so many people were being moved by the divine will, and sometimes they weren't consciously aware of it, but just witnessing it was so beautiful, because I could see the Lord in so many people, and they were just moving around, doing whatever it was. And it was almost, it was so sacred actually to witness people's the highest version of them that they never got the opportunity to share, because this mundane society doesn't allow us sometimes to fully express that. But being put in this place where we were all pushed to the limits, I think the true essence of humans came out, and it was very refreshing for me, actually. I really enjoyed being in that environment, and I felt in my heart like I've been waiting for this for a long time.
Yeah, it was incredible. And then we had like 108 ohms at I think at 108 or at 12 o'clock every day. And I remember you being there, Jordan, and I, for some reason in my head, I have this sense that you were like involved in causing that somehow. Do I remember that correctly, or?
Yeah, so can you just remind me of the name of your incredible colleague, the tall guy?
Savika, was it Savika Vatsala?
Yeah, I believe so, man. You know, he was just such a beautiful soul and just so devoted. And between us, we sort of, seeded the idea of 108 ohms. And that first one, I think there would have been 40, 50, 60 people. And you could feel the vibration of this, you know, because it was right in the middle of the Parliament grounds. And this was a pillar of light that was actually holding together the energy of the whole protest. And I do want to acknowledge the Hare Krishnas and the Hare Krishna tent for holding down a very strong spiritual space. And I actually don't believe that the protest would have lasted anywhere near as long with the energy that it had without Hare Krishnas being present.
Yeah, they really wanted us to. Thank you. First of all, thank you. I got your acknowledgement. And yeah, they really did not want us to be there. Whoever they are. Like, as Gaura was saying, there was like a lot of pressure put on all of the devotees who came. In the end, like 6 of us were named the Hare Krishna official movement took out like a classified ad and denounced 6 of us in there, and they created a national policy threatening to sanction anyone who participated in protests. So, you know, they were gotten to somehow and put a lot of pressure on, and a lot of people experienced that, and everyone who went there had to cross over something to get there. But, you know, we also had the support of our families. Some of us, at least. My mother was like right into it as well, you know. So I was right there with you when you were acknowledging the mothers for being the source of that. And Gaura always says this, that, you know, boys take after their mother, take on her kind of characteristics. So I think every man who was there represents a mother who was in the background.
Yeah, man, I totally agree. And just on that point, I think earlier, Gaura, I mentioned this was such a spiritual occasion, and you know, I've spent time with Christian communities and Hare Krishna communities, and you know, Christos, Krishna, whatever the name is. There was that happening within all the different types of faith, you know, and like I think this really cut through really deep to someone's true connection with God or the divine source. And you could really see those that had a very strong relationship that, you know, would not take no for an answer in terms of their involvement in something like this. And it was across all faiths. And I think that was actually what was really beautiful to witness as well, was everybody dropped the names, everybody dropped the religion or whatever it was. And it was like, there was one thing that was important, you know, and that was really beautiful to see.
One spiritual family.
No, I can't get the Dane's Instagram to load on my computer. I'm not saying that it's you know, definitely being blocked, but I'm going to put my conspiracy hat on and I'm going to say that it's definitely being blocked. But Dane can play it there.
Oh, have you got it, Dane? All right,
yeah,
sweet.
if you're able to share, can you share your screen with audio?
Yeah.
You can share one browser tab, I think, with audio,
Share screen.
and then we can get it to play.
One second, it's just asking me to.
We should definitely watch the trailer as well, I think, while we're here.
Okay,
Yeah, let's do
I
that.
got the trailer ready to roll now. How about I set that up, and Dane, you can line up the other one for next. So this is the official River of Freedom documentary trailer. Okay, so I'm going to play this. I'll put us on mute while I play this. This will give you a sense of all of the kind of plot points of the show. Here we go.
Not getting any audio on my end.
My role in my own heart, and the reason why I was there, is that I needed to speak the truth.
I had to educate myself. Personally, I'm pro-vaccination, but having to sack people because they don't take a vaccination is, in my book, just immoral.
Like a river that is flowing, we'll know.
This is the world that we're in now. You better toe the line, but we wouldn't.
No, I need to do this. I feel so strongly about it. But I'm proud of what I did and what I fought for.
The Wellington protest was that light. It gave me that faith back that maybe we don't have to go down that dark road.
This was where our pa was. I just wanted to get one night on the whenua, and if we had got through that, I was happy.
If the politicians of New Zealand think that these little games that they're playing against us, up against some of the most resourceful people in New Zealand, they're dreaming.
Give them an umbrella! I think I understood because I listened. Your job as a politician is to represent the people.
This leadership group had a person offered to negotiate. I just assumed the government would behave reasonably.
If democracy is a conversation and politicians don't want to have the conversation, what are we all doing here?
Be calm, everyone. Peace and love.
How can you be an anti-vaxxer when you had a vaccine? You know, like you did it, right? You're not an anti-vaxxer, you're an injured person.
We'd already been bullied out of everything else. I didn't have anything else to lose.
Made me cry every day they didn't come.
Where's your money?
Never gonna tell.
Powerful. So moving. I don't regret an instant of it. Like, I'd do it all over again immediately. This is so good. This the experiences, the emotions of the whole thing, the whole time, it was like a roller coaster. It's unbelievable. It's so powerful. Oh, Gaura, you're on mute. Hang on. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I was astonished to find out that worldwide coverage for these protests, not just Ottawa and Wellington, New Zealand, but all around the world, the media was censoring any protests that were going on. So I mean, obviously, you know, something's up. I mean, you very quickly find out what mainstream media is if you didn't know what it was. The very fact that there was so much bias towards only presenting the viewpoint of the globalists. That was very
psychological clear. Operations arm of something. Them. I can't believe that this movie has. Like this movie that it's you know, there's a saying that the victors write the history, and in this case, somehow in this country, the divine put together a group of people in that place and on that movie set there and made this movie. Like this is a movie that not only captures a moment in history of New Zealand that's profound, but this is a movie that changes the world.
Mm.
And this is just the beginning. It's like going to be in 3 theaters for the premiere. Jared was saying there are 10 theaters that will show it nationally. They're creating an international cut. This is the psychological operation of the demigods in full effect. It's like, you wanted to go to war? We're going to war.
And not to mention that, you know, this entire film has been fundraised by the people, for the people, you know, and if that isn't, you know, a tohu or a sign that we don't believe in what the, you know, taxpayer propaganda is like feeding, and that people really want to see the truth and are willing to, you know, put the money there to make sure this is made. That's what's the most humbling, because we all showed up in service. We volunteered our time. None of us got paid for this, you know, and now the funding to be able to support the post-production and to allow, you know, Jared, Galen Barnes, and a lot of other crew to be able to give their life since Parliament. And just want to send a big blessing out to them, because I know myself how much I've been challenged in the journey since Parliament, having to deal with some of the more like challenging moments that I experienced there at the, you know, the 5 a.m. dawn raids and being confronted by police at early hours, and they've had to go through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours, like weeks and weeks worth of footage for a whole year and a half, constantly with a fine-tooth comb. Like, they've been living Parliament since Parliament and are still very much in it. And I think that takes an extraordinary amount of courage, because it's one thing for us to show up in the heat of the moment and be divinely guided and given that immense power to be present and to be in service, but to recluse from that and to go back into a world where a lot of that story has just gone, and to be there and hold that mana, hold that power, and keep steering that ship towards this, you know, conclusion is humbling as far as I'm concerned, you know. And I acknowledge my time and Geordie's time and our time as Manaaki Media there, but the big love goes out to Jared and Galen with Braided Films and a lot of their work to be able to see this through and to just keep taking more and more on, to be able to filter it out, to be able to produce a 2-hour film. It's a lot.
It's a selfless service. Yeah, very selfless. And for what? Not only for you guys, also for your new generation that is coming through you, and also other people, you know, our new generation. What are we going to tell our children? You know, oh, I didn't do anything. And then they have to fight the battle that is ours, was ours. And then the next generation. And who is benefiting greatly from it? Who is having the best time? The manipulators now, you know. Everyone has been sold out so far. When these days, obviously, you know, I question myself, why are we putting the government as a god to give us everything, to give us freedom, to give us, like, we are born free. We only need to use our God-given intelligence to discern what is right and what is wrong and say, excuse me, doesn't work that way. And also instruct the government, this is not the way to go. We are people, you are people. Your job is to do this. And great, you know, you've been doing such amazing service for this generation and the next to come, and also to raise the mana, the energy, the shakti of every living entity. You have the right to live in a world that is not manipulation, that is not full of fear. We were not born with fear. We were not born to be manipulated, but to speak our little children that they need protection. They are not born for that world. So it's us, you know, as a human beings, to act now and say, that's it. No more.
Yeah, it's just the beginning. And this movie is going to be like an inspiration for people all the way through.
Mm.
You know, people are going to be able to watch that movie and just go, yeah, this is possible.
Yeah, I think it's a film for the future. That's what I always had felt. Is it's a film for now, but this is a film for the future, and it's a stamp in time. Because if people look back one day and there wasn't a film like this, then what would they see? They would only see what the media wanted to portray or what the government at the time wanted to portray. So the fact that this film has been produced, it's an artifact of history, and that's how I see it. And it's a modern myth of what happened on the ground. So. Yeah, very grateful. I can't resonate enough with Dane's gratitude for the team that's pulled this together. They've put so much hard work into it.
They're the team for demigods. You guys are demigods. You guys are conducted by demigods. So otherwise, you know what? You will be lining with the other team, playing the same game they're playing now. It takes something different to be different to do this kind of job, and you are in that line. Thank you.
I want to say, am I unmuted? Yeah, I wanted to say that Your River of Freedom is such an important movie because what the people were out there protesting for, I mean, every day I'm hearing about family members who immediately after succumbing to the pressures to take these injections. I just heard today, one family member, immediately after getting the injection, they immediately went into a coma for a month. And at the end of the month, they left their body. I live in a small apartment building with 8 people. The same day that my neighbor went to the local Rexall pharmacy to get his injection, he got a blood clot in the brain. Left side of his body became paralyzed. He left his body the very next day. So you have no idea how many thousands, tens of thousands, I don't know if it ranges into the millions of injuries and deaths that people had to undergo. So much grief we cannot even calculate as a result of the tyranny that was inflicted upon the world by the globalists in harmony with their extensions of Big Pharma. And you're telling the story. You're showing those who were out there trying to protect their family members, or as said earlier, the children, the future. What's that saying about good men not doing what they can do or speak?
All that is necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing.
So Dane and Jordan certainly did their share, facilitating the voices of tens of thousands of people.
Millions of people.
Millions.
Because this is a movie that, although it portrays what happened in New Zealand, I believe humanity can locate themselves in this. And it speaks to what Jordan was saying about how this transcended all those kind of like religious designations, racial, political divides, everything. It got transcended there. It was humanity. And so that transcends national boundaries for sure. It was the fundamental human experience of being. So millions of people will be able to see themselves in this movie. I mean, if you're a human being, you'll see yourself in this movie. And that was what I saw there, was like, what is it about being a human being? If there's biologically at a fundamental level, reproduction and having children and having concern for your children. I was like, man, this is some powerful stuff here. And then this connection to the spiritual and the divine, it was like fully human and fully divine, and every human being can locate themselves in that. This movie will speak to everyone without a doubt. It's going to go like wildfire across this planet.
Go ahead.
Oh God, I just want to appreciate you and your service of in Ottawa and what all of those people did in Canada, because it also shows what happens when a global movement penetrates all aspects of civilization. because without the movement in Canada and the convoy that sparked there and the convoys that rippled out across the world, that's what instigated a huge part of that gathering at Parliament. Yes, there was previous hikois. Yes, there was previous movements to show and to stand for freedom. But it's when you see the immensity of what happened in Canada across the whole distance, that was the fire that lit this movement up. And that's what shows this divine unity that just ripples out across the world. And now to be able to be in service and pay homage to that and produce this film, that I feel is just merely going to be a reflection that goes back to Canada to be like, y'all started this and this is what came from it, and here is a deeper truth to what we experienced, but on the back of what you guys paved the way for. So just ngā mihi, thank you so much for your truth.
I would have been ashamed of myself had this gone by, to know that I didn't do my little, at least tiny bit to come out there and support everybody's anxiety and offering the solution, which from our perspective, we need to dissolve these material bodies anyway. And the best and least violent way to do that is by chanting the names of the Lord and reviving our spiritual bodies. So what you two gentlemen did, Dane and Jordan, is you documented people's reactions to the greatest organized crime that we've ever seen in history.
And it brought out the best. The worst thing brought out the best in humanity. It's that paradox that you started with, Gaura, paradoxically.
And the other thing as well, Canada created that and New Zealand got inspired by it. And now other people in other parts of the world is like, hold on a second, they did this. This is what happened in New Zealand. We can do that too. And then next one, and then next one. And then, you know what? Nobody can manipulate that we're a human being. Nobody owns us. Absolutely no one. We belong to God and that's it. And we're here to love, to share that love with us, our brothers and sisters, regardless of the culture or the beliefs or whatever, that love, that caring for each other. And then there is a new generation, like the golden age, like the prediction of Srila Prabhupada, the golden age, where the world will be different. But in order for us to be different, we have to go through this episode of, what would you call it?
Birth pains?
Rebirth. Trials to see where we are.
It's World War III, baby. And this film is a nuclear bomb and it's about to drop on September the 5th, 6th, and 7th with the premiere here in New Zealand and then in 10 cinemas nationwide. Let's see if we can play that your original dance floor hit, Dane, the one that sparked the Disco Inferno and had all those people come down to Wellington. Are you able to share your screen to play it?
Yeah, I'll give it a go and see what happens.
Okay, let's see if we can do it.
You can do it. You can do it.
While you're doing that, I'd like to ask the question. Did you ask Eric Clapton personally if you could use some of his anti-lockdown, anti-jab songs?
The crew did, yeah. They reached out to him. It came through our executive producer in the UK, actually. So he's come on board and he managed to get the rights to Eric Clapton and he was all for it and well, truly in support. And they're currently cutting, the executive producer in the UK are currently cutting an international version of the film, just down a little bit to remove a little bit more of the New Zealand specific stuff to make it a bit more sort of available for international audience. But yeah, it was thanks to him that he sort of got Eric Clapton on board, which is amazing because that's also gives us a really powerful international context, having someone of such significance in his music to be able to be, on our side. So yeah.
We also have a 15-minute clip that I sent to Sita Pati of us up on the stage in front of the Parliament buildings. I'm sorry we couldn't have gotten that to you earlier. Maybe you could have squeezed in a minute or two.
I'd love to show you guys something as well. How are you going, Dane?
Yeah, I'm just going to share it now.
Yeah, cool. I'll show after.
Okay, great. Show and tell. Love it.
As you just click present, and then is that how you do it?
Can you guys see this?
Yep.
Cool,
yeah,
bro.
we got it there.
So yeah, this is the first film that I had made after that initial Thursday protest, and this was the moment for me personally that I realized, shit, that here is love and here is truth, and the amount of people that viewed it was like, I'm doing God's work, and that's the message that comes through to me that just illuminated my body and just gave me the fuel for 21 days of continuing this mahi. So I'll let you guys see it.
And we got to do that.
Be terrified. Welcome to the revolution. We will fight the institution. Be terrified. Welcome to the revolution.
Coming. They are getting in their cars and they are coming to join us.
Kia ora, brother. Yeah, the work that you did at the start there was amazing, man.
That was my brother there. My brother was on the microphone saying they're getting in their cars. They're coming to join us.
No way.
I found out about it. I knew nothing about it. I'd been in Auckland. I'd been to all the protests during 2020, 21. And a couple of months before I left Auckland, I remember when the Hikaway of Truth was coming through and you all were stopped on the southern border of the lockdown zone around Auckland, which was like kind of under a glass dome, you know. We were living in I was like, dude, this is the future preview of what's going to happen in the city. It's going to be a Logan's Run Blade Runner kind of locked inside type thing. And I was watching them. I'd go out walking during these lockdowns and I was looking at what they're doing. I was like, they're rebuilding the city into a concentration camp, man. So we got out of the city at the end of 21 and we're living on a farm in Hawke's Bay. And then one day my brother just messages me and says, there's a convoy. We're going down to Wellington. And he said there was this app called, can't remember what it was. It was like a CB radio app. Started with Z, I think. And I was like, I got no idea what's going on. Zello? Zello, yeah. I loaded it up and started listening to it, and the energy was incredible. And they were like, yeah, we're going here, we're going there. Everybody get over to the side. We're going to be here for tonight. And I was like, dude, this is happening. Let's go. We jumped in the car, headed straight down there and got, and just like you, Dane, arrived for the speeches. My brother gave a speech there. He actually called for the occupation. He was like, we're not leaving until this government repents. And then we went back to the farm. He gave like, he's a hardcore Christian, you know, he gave like a full turn to Jesus. It's the only way, you know, on the mic and the thing. People were like, what is this guy doing? You know, he was just like, we're staying here until this evil government repents of its ways, like this. And then we went home that night. And then I woke up the next morning and I was just like, we have to go back. Like, we have to go back now. And so we got back in the car and headed back down and just were there for the next 21 days. So to see him in that movie, you know, just amazing. And, you know, my mother, she had her 70th birthday while we were there. And we had originally planned to do something, you know, amazing for her 70th birthday. But then both of us were there at the occupation, you know. But she was so into it. It was like that was the best birthday present we could have given her ever, to see her too. Son's like right up and underneath it like that.
She was proud of her son.
Yeah. The two of us were there.
Did she also her sons? So did she tell you that she was very happy?
Oh yeah, she was. Yeah,
Great.
and so thank you for capturing that, Dane.
I'd like to just share one more little video, which is the last one I made from Valentine's Day, and it for me really encapsulates a moment that, you know, I see in nearly every film I had without even trying. The praise and the singing of the Hare Krishna was just in the darkest hours is what really lit me up. You know, those 4 a.m. dawn raids and hearing the Hare Krishna, the symbols, it's just like really kept me electrified. But this one's from Valentine's Day. And I just want to quickly share this before I pass it over to Geordie, just because
Yeah, let's do it.
It really encapsulates what it was truly about for us.
This 14th of February is Lord Nityananda's appearance day.
We've never seen it before, and we're ready. Freedom! Remember why we're doing this, family. We're doing it for our children. Let them see your courage now.
We're doing this like one of the biggest protests in New Zealand, like ever.
And I'm so happy to hear that our sisters that have been stuck in prison have been free.
We are united now, as you can see.
One more.
Beautiful.
That song's like the anthem, eh? That
Machu?
Man, that one.
That's Mihirangi, that one.
What's the name of that song?
Mihirangi. That's who sings it. I'll have to find the name of it really quickly. But yeah, Mihirangi's song, she formulated that, and that haka you hear in that, she wrote for Parliament.
Wow.
So her track is called Walk Together. I'll drop the link in the chat for you so you can share it with anyone that wants it. But yeah, that was Mihirangi's.
Beautiful.
I'm interested to know, have you been receiving a good response worldwide of enthusiasm to see River of Freedom?
Yep, we have. It's just beginning, you know, like people have just been craving hearing it and seeing it. Now it's just up to us to like really push it out there, because, you know, as you can imagine, a lot of it's gone quiet for such a period of time since the Parliament occupation. And so now word's getting out that we've got release dates, we have screenings for the premiere, and that it is going to cinema. So yeah, a lot of people are itching to see it. And the more that we can share it, the more that we can let people know that it's coming, it's finally here. It's just going to get out to all those people that really, truly wish to relive that and to feel empowered. Because like Geordie says, this is a story for now. It's a story for then, but it's certainly a story for the future. And it's just going to really illuminate the power in the heart that we're all desired, because I feel like we've lost a little bit of that spark, some of us, you know, because nothing's really felt like it's changed or shifted, even though when you do sort of zoom back, it has. So it's building enthusiasm for sure.
This must have been like a filmmaker's dream for each of you to see this opportunity and realize that you were a part of it. You weren't just there to observe. It was all around you.
Yeah, people were really inspired to share, and I might actually just share a couple from my screen now. Let's have a look. You guys can see this?
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
So these are like, you know, all one take. There's the brother.
Yeah, Sevaka Vatsala.
Yeah.
You know, so these were all one takes of these beautiful souls who chose to share. You know, and altogether, I think over 1 million views, just from these ones. You know, and this one here from Colin, this just changed people.
I'm Colin, and I've come down from rural Katikati. I'm here until the end of this. These mandates have got to stop. I've got 5 children, they're 28, 26, and 3 boys at 17, 16, and 15. And they have asked me to come down. I'm a solo dad. The boys have asked me to come down and represent them because they can't sit their licenses. One of them's got his restricted, one of them's got his learners, and the younger one's coming up to 16 soon. and they can't get their licenses and live in rural. It's really important. They're gutted. And as a father, it's really hard to watch their mental health dropping over the last 2 years. Me keeping it together for them. The 17-year-old, he has done a year at Windermere in Tauranga as an apprentice mechanic. This year, when he turned up on the first day, he just got told to leave. And he was pretty upset, emotionally upset, not angry. So they've asked me to come on down here, and those 3 boys are holding the fort on their own. So luckily they had a solo dad who taught them they had to do cooking and dishes over the last years. I'm very proud of my family. I'm disgusted with this government. I really am. I really am broken that this government, the corporation now I learn, is not caring at all about us. And I can whakapapa right back. I can do my mihi whakawhanangatanga. But I'm a watered down Waitara boy that now lives in Katikati, very rural. Thank you, mate. Anything else you want to know?
That's perfect, bro. If there's anything that you'd want anyone else to know about what people are doing here, now's the time.
Yeah, well, I've been pretty impressed that I've only seen 2 angry people, and they've had their 5-minute spit over the, well, not spit, but their spiel over the fence line. And the rest of us seems, or everyone here seems to be happy, peaceful, and determined to stay until this is sorted out. So I'm really happy to be amongst this group of people. Really am. I've heard nothing negative, only against the corporation / government. Cheers.
So yeah, he was an absolute legend. But you know, as a filmmaker, being able to like hear the voice of people like Colin, that's all we've ever dreamt of. You know, like, you know, finally an opportunity to hear someone really share from the heart. You know, what's this really about? And yeah, just touch people. That reached over 300,000 people, over 400 comments. You know, he just went viral because people hadn't seen that stuff. They were being deprived of this from the media. You know, anyone that watched the main news outlets, you're just not going to see anything like that. So that was the real, that was the jewel in our work. One more thing I was wanting to share is just because, Gaura, you mentioned being on the Parliament stage. We've got a few photos here from, I think if I go like that, go system preferences. 1 second. Just got to give it access here. All right, let's see if this works.
Did any celebrities in New Zealand make it known that they were on the side of the people, or did everyone try to protect themselves and remain corporate?
Yeah, you got anything there, Dane?
That's a good question.
a lot of them sort of definitely kept things hush hush. Russell Coates, he's one of our famous New Zealand sailors with the America's Cup and stuff. He showed up at Parliament and actively sort of spoke out about, you know, what was going on, which allowed us to get a lot of international press, because, you know, he's famous with America's Cup and around the world. And so a lot of international press really picked up on that, saying, well, here's a man that, you know, is quite renowned globally, saying that this is, you know, this is what's up. So he's in the film. And yeah, he's given permission, and he's just stoked to be a part of it and to be able to sort of support that. Generally, a lot of celebrities and a lot of people within the industry kept it quiet. There wasn't a great deal of speaking up. You know, there's a lot of people's livelihood, once again, was on the line, like contracts and different things, like much what we were speaking about from the Christian community and, you know, the filmmaker community. We all lost things. We all crossed over a line to be able to speak our truth and to show up in that place. So for some, you know, my heart goes out to them, because their livelihoods and their, you know, empires or their livelihoods were also very much like held like a noose around the neck. So just those who fully had the ability and, you know, the equity or the trust or the belief to be able to step up and speak the truth takes courage. But I know there's a lot of people that couldn't afford to lose their livelihoods in that. So
are you able to get your thing to share, Jordan?
Oh, it's like reckons I can't share it. I'll try one more time, but if not, then
what is it that you wanted to share?
it's just it's an iconic photo, actually.
If you open it in your browser, you can just share the browser tab.
Oh yeah, cool.
If you're on a Mac, you just drag it and drop it into the browser and it'll open.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Sitapati, will we have any time to share a little bit of us freezing during our talk in front of the Parliament buildings? Or
yeah, how long is the clip?
Oh, the total is probably about 12-15 minutes, but you put up whatever.
Maybe we can watch. Yeah, if you can find like a 2-minute clip of it, we can do that. We'll close the the 2-minute section of it that you think is the most impactful, and then we can acknowledge that. Yeah, it came up for a second there and then it disappeared, Jordan.
There we go.
Yeah, there was an iconic photo of a sign out the front of out the front of Parliament. It said, "Ottawa, we are with you," and I took a photo of myself in front of it, and I haven't got that to hand, unfortunately. Here we go.
So this shot here, if you can see it, is all of our Queenstown community. We did a ecstatic dance with Rebecca, who's holding. Someone actually drew an image of the scene. You can see. I'm not sure if you can see there, but it's actually they've drawn it live and then given it to her, and we were all having a crack up. But this was just like such an iconic moment that I'll show my grandchildren one day, that we're on the steps of Parliament, just dancing for the light and for the divine, and it was a real high vibe affair.
Wow, epic! So someone drew a picture of you DJing there, and then here's a photo of you DJing and her holding up a picture of you DJing. It's Inception.
Yeah, it's a trip, eh? It says freedom from tyranny, and then it's called Hive Rave.
Epic.
So yeah. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you guys that.
I love it. What a celebration of creativity and love and connection. The whole thing was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Do you have you got it lined up there, Gaura? Maybe we can do this. We'll take a couple of minutes so we can get connected to Ottawa, which served as a huge inspiration for what we did here in Aotearoa, and then take some final reflections and wrap it up. How does that sound?
What I'm seeing is that the talk goes for 7.5 minutes, and then I start the chant after that. So what would you like?
Let's just take the last minute or so of the talk, and
let it lead into the chant.
Beginning of the chanting, yeah, and then we capture kind of both of the parts.
That's what I thought. Okay, good. I'm lining it up right now.
Okay.
Or I'm examining it.
Yeah.
As it gets lined up, I just want to share. Oh no, there we go. It's all good. I'm not getting any audio over here.
I've got from about 5.5 minutes long. It can run into whatever you want.
I'm not getting any audio. Is anyone else getting audio?
Well, do you want audio from me?
Just
are you
just from the video?
Yes.
It's not, the video is not playing any audio, Gaura.
Okay, so do you want me to put that on?
Yeah, you need to put the audio on. It's funny because it was playing here in the background on my computer, and it was playing there, and I thought the audio was coming from there, but it was coming from here.
Sorry.
So should I let it rip?
Well, you got to get the audio. Did you share it with audio?
Okay.
Oh no, actually, I'm playing it here.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, okay. You're not sharing your screen there. Give me the number, the timestamp, and I'll cue mine up and play it.
Okay. I have roughly 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
Okay, so from 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
Okay, here we go, and I'll make it bigger if I can.
500 years. 500 years before Gandhi or Dr. Martin Luther King, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, led the first recorded act of civil disobedience in Bengal, who had banned the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. And today, because of the Lord's example, we likewise are called to confront and resist sinful, degrading, and godless forces that would take away our fundamental freedoms. So this cause, this freedom rally, is a noble and essential movement. We pray that Lord Krishna blesses all of you and your loved ones. We pray that he blesses all of our efforts with all success, and that he keeps you safe and free, and he draws you to the shelter of his divine love. Thank you very much. Now, let us all invoke the supremely auspicious Lord by chanting his holy names. Repeat after me, and you can follow us. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
We love you so much. Thank you for being here today. We just love you. Now we're going to do a small chanting, and after this, let's continue with the party.
Chantez la mantra de liberté, s'il vous plaît. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
That's nectar. It's Gaura out there on the streets, and that's on the 12th of February. So that was 2 days before the one that you showed, Dane.
Wow.
And that was the week before. That was the week. At the end of that, of being outside 7 hours singing and chanting and dancing the Lord's names, I got severe spasms in my legs. And I had to jump into a bathtub full of boiling hot water. But it was worth it. Anyway, the next week, Mr. Trudeau sent out his goons. I don't know who these people were. They were in these green suits with visors and batons. They had no insignia on them. They were like, I don't know, what do you call it when it's no name brand or something? Some said they flew these people in from NATO, I don't know where. And they came, some had guns, and others had tear gas. One of these tear gas cans got shot into a lady's leg. It was, the vibe from the government was so militaristic. It was, yeah. Anyway, I'm really grateful that I went out. I'm sorry it was only 1 day, but that was what I was facilitated to do. But it was a highlight of the whole year for me. And I'm thinking, why did it have to take a protest to get me out the door, to chant the names of the Lord? But hey, whatever impetus it takes, then it's good.
Whatever gets you there. Yeah. Thank you for your service. So how about let's take final reflections and then wind up today's episode. Dane looks like he's thinking there.
I was actually just staring out over Lake Tarawera and just taking in the beauty of this moment. You know, like, I guess if there was ever to be a reflection, it's looking into a still lake and realizing that which we navigated through the darkness is all worth the light. And like you said earlier, Stepati, I wouldn't change anything for the world, you know, and I think just having Gaura's reflections and praise, and same with Dana Devi, and just the holiness of like acknowledgement. It's flowing through my being in a way that's lighting me up, that, you know, not being able to speak to some of these trials and tribulations and not being able to speak to the triumph of showing up. You know, yesterday I reviewed the Daily Examiner film with Jared and saw the poster, and just to see on the bottom of that poster, you know, Manaaki Media and Dane Scott and Jordan Ranson, and then, you know, photo credit for the poster itself, and to send that to my mum, you know, she's just incredibly proud, and it was because of her that instigated me stepping into that world and to showing up in that full force. And so a part of me over the last year and a half have contemplated on, was it worth it? You know, I lost a lot, but it's these moments now sitting in this, you know, heavenly grace that I realize it was all worth it, and I would never change it ever again. And that I know that there is immense glory that's going to come from this, and it's going to continue to ripple out. And so it's just sitting and bathing in that reflection at the moment. So Hare Krishna, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been a blessing.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Jordan?
Yeah, just really honored actually, and humbled to be playing a role in the divine plan, and echoing what you said earlier, Gaura, that, you know, this all needed to happen to actually enlighten the world. And without this, we would still be in a slumber. So just the reflection for me is a deep acknowledgement and honoring of all of the souls that have played their part in this great spectacle, this great drama that is leading towards the evolution of the consciousness on this planet. And yeah, all glory goes to God. You know, like the light, the divine light of Creator just flows through us, and as storytellers, we're simply telling the divine story, and we'll continue to do that. And it's been a real pleasure to sit with you all today, actually, and feels very profound and potent. So thank you all for your time and space. And Gaura, beautiful to meet you and spend time with you online. And I look forward to the next occasion.
Yes. Thank you. Gaura Prabhu?
For kindly inviting me to attend and having introduced me to you, great souls, Dane and Jordan, great servants of the Lord, for doing his work. I see what you've done as being his work in helping to awaken souls out of the slumber and state of amnesia that very cruel despots have put our populations of the world into. And I want to thank my spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, for introducing me to the Hare Krishna mantra, which has taken me through every trial and tribulation that I've experienced in my life. And I'd like to close on his words in a letter to Sudhindra Kishore Roy. And in that letter, Srila Prabhupada stated, "But even if there may be some problems, always try to remain Krishna consciousness, to remain in Krishna consciousness. Do not give up chanting the Hare Krishna mantra simply due to some external difficulties. Under all circumstances, you should always chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This will protect you from all danger of being influenced by Maya or the material illusory energy." So we made it. We made it through, and this is a celebration that we're having. And I look forward to hearing reports from Sitapati and Dana about your success, Dane and Jordan, with River of Freedom worldwide. I hope billions of people get to see it. And if they were not awakened before they saw it, they will be after. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Dana Devi?
You know, while the conversation was going on, and I was thinking, you know, we always think warriors are those guys that have guns and knives and spades or whatever. But here I see warriors, you know, silent warriors using their skills and guided by God Himself to do what He needs to do. You know, you guys need to do to work through you to what it has to happen in the future. And you silently and with such a strength and determination, you have carried on with this task of using your skills and developing this movie and now sharing to the world actually what it is, what we went through and what is coming later on. We don't know yet what's coming in the future for sure, but what we're doing now is actually predicting what's going to happen in the future. And you guys are planting the seed now, how to be warriors without using a knife or without being a faulty language, using faulty language to our brothers and sisters. Quite unfortunate that our brothers and sisters are still covered by the veil. They cannot see through yet. But sooner or later, when the time is right, they will be able to see it. But the movie is there for them to look back and say, "Oh my gosh, why was I sleeping?" And they will get up and be warriors like you guys. I appreciate for your time in this planet, and I'm so happy to share that time and space and energy that you guys are here. And God is so kind. Krishna is so kind. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Obviously, this movie is a huge collaborative effort, which you've spoken to. And, you know, I don't know the names of everyone who's involved. There's Briar, obviously. I think she's part of Manaaki Media as well. There's Jared and your executive producer in the UK, and so many people involved in the production of this thing. So to you personally, and through you to everyone who's involved in the production of this movie, I acknowledge you for your willingness to be an instrument of the divine, and your courage and your commitment and the personal sacrifice that you've undertaken to make this possible. And I acknowledge you for the difference that is being made by you and through you to the world in the production of this movie. And as Jordan said earlier, you know, in this movie, or it might have been Dane, or to be both the participant and the creator of the movie. In this divine play that we are in, we are not only observers, but also participants. And thank you for being here on this planet at this time with me, and it is a great honor to participate alongside you and contribute. You know, maybe I got to be in the Manaaki Media highlights reel, focusing on the love aspect of the profess, the Parliament occupation, and you know, I really consider that to be the perfection of my life, participating there. And you know, the difference that this movie is making and is going to make in the world is just exciting, and what a privilege to be part of it. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Yeah, look forward to seeing it. Are you guys going to be at the at one of the premieres? If people are watching and they want to come and say hi, get an autograph, get a selfie for the Instagram.
We'd love to be, but we're going to be. We're actually going to be in the Solomon Islands.
Okay, so that's the next project. What is it that you're covering in the Solomon Islands?
I'll leave that to Dane. He can share this.
It's getting married.
we would love to be there for sure. We actually fly in back on the 11th. We're there for 2 weeks in the Solomon Islands for a heartfelt story on cacao and the local Pacific community that for many, many generations, we're looking at 50 years plus, have been growing cacao. And as once again, a corporation has come in, said, grow this. This is, for us, we'll pay you this. And so that's perpetuated until this beautiful woman down South Island called Una and her kaupapa, her business and her passion called the Cacao Ambassador has changed all of that. And so through education, she's been flying to these Pacific nations and going into these remote communities that grow cacao and is teaching them first and foremost how to harvest the cacao. And they already harvest it and sun dry it, but they're processing it themselves, roasting it and consuming it. And so just to give you a little bit of reference, those in the Solomon Islands, if they want to make a chocolate cake, it would cost them $70 locally to be able to buy the cacao powder ingredients just to make a cake. Yet they sell their beans for $12. So the social impact on their mental health through the cacao, the heart-opening medicine that it is, has rolled on to many, many implications of like well-being, mental health, community involvement, and then a greater reverence for nature and the environment itself. So we see this as a global impact story as well, looking at what the world looked like collectively if we looked after ourselves first. We looked after what we grew before we exported it, and how we can come together in sovereignty, not just for food, but the environment and just the collective as a whole. So once again, Manaaki Media is sort of leading out there to tell this story that's universal, but is just mirrored in these small locations. And yeah, it's with great sadness that we're not there present for the premieres, but we're just once again guided to be on this journey. And so we're currently raising funds for that mission as well. I noticed that Geordie just dropped a link in there. You can head over to our Instagram or give a little sharing the story of Mama Cacao, and yeah, we're just continuing this journey that we've been put on since Parliament. Manaaki Media was conceived on the grounds of Parliament, and it's like our logo. If our logo is it's this heart inside a heart that peels out, and it's the layers. We're letting the light in, and we're just peeling back the veil and just opening it more and more, so we can all, find Krishna and find God and find truth in everything that we walk. So that's it.
Incredible. It's not just a movie, it's a media company that makes movies. It's like the next level. It's what got created there. Amazing. Yeah, it's changing the world. It's the golden age. We're in it.
Yeah, definitely. And it's incredible that you're going all the way down there and representing these people, speaking for them. And while you were talking about these people growing their own food, and to get their own food is way more expensive. And now it comes to the times like corporation, basically people will say, sorry, get out of our way. We grow it and we know what to do with it. See you later. Yeah. And it's great that I can speak that way, and you are doing that job for them to speak that way. And between communities, because now is the world of communities, they have to come together. And that community over there, they can make another community here where we exchange things.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Storytelling is so powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for coming on. Thank you, Gaura, for joining us from Canada. Represent Ottawa. Yeah. I don't know when we're going to get to see it or where we're going to get to see it, but we're definitely going to see this movie. And if you can get to one of the premieres, go to riveroffreedom.nz to buy your tickets. 5th, 6th, and 7th of September, this movie is coming out. This is World War III that we're in, and this is the nuclear bomb, and it's about to drop on September 5th 6th and 7th. Yeah, or is it 6th, 7th, and 8th? Anyway, go to the website
One,
and find
one
out.
of those. I mean, if you're a day early, it's better than being a day late.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing I
There-
would like to mention is that it will be coming online. It will be showing up eventually online. But if there are people out there and they want to see it in a town near them, and this is Aotearoa, contact your cinema. Let them know it wants to be seen, because there's a number of cinemas sitting on the fence. You know, it's controversial film to show, but there's a lot of cinemas that want to see it. So if the more people express to their local cinema that, hey, we want to see this film, that's going to nudge them to show it. And if there are communities out there, if you guys want to set up a private screening as well, you can contact Jared and a media team through get in contact through riverfreedom.nz. And yeah, they are all for it. If you want to do a private screening, there's loads of people out there that are going to be doing this. So however we can get it out to the community to share it. I mean, Gaura, if you want to set up a screening in Ottawa, over in Canada, like, man, that is an opportunity as well. So
I was thinking about it, because that it started in Ottawa and then it transferred that inspiration to New Zealand.
Yeah.
Inspiration took it over.
Get in touch with that freedom community over there and like make it happen.
Yeah,
We can do that. Let's
yeah.
have a crack at that.
Let's do that, Gaura.
Okay.
And then
the
light is on everywhere.
We'll come to that premiere, eh?
Yeah. That'd be good.
That
Just
would
after
be
September.
awesome.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Is there a trailer or a clip that you could give me access to that I could try to make it available, and then I would have maybe Sitapati could put that together for me, and
we can put it
give
together.
me your
Make it
emails
happen.
or whoever people need to contact in order to have a screening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely will. Okay, thanks for coming on, gentlemen. Thanks for everyone for watching. Make sure you catch this movie and follow Manaaki Media on Instagram.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Kia ora. Hare Krishna.
Ka kite anō.
Thank you, Dane. Thank you, Jordan.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, oh Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare